Next on Worcester News tonight, a tentative agreement is reached between Stop & Shop and its union workers. The supermarket chain is now trying to get back to business. Plus, dozens are displaced on Easter Sunday when a 3-alarm fire in Sturbridge causes heavy damage to an apartment complex. But first, we begin with developing news in Millbury. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Crews battle a fire inside a Millbury home Monday afternoon. The fire department says the condition in and around the single-family home made it difficult to put out the flames. Our Cam Jandro has the details.
Firefighters in Millbury battle a fire in a South Oxford Road home Monday.
The occupant was sleeping, woke up, found a stove on fire, tried to put it out, got some severe burns.
The occupant was transported to the hospital to be treated for those burns. Millbury Chief Richard Hamilton says crews responded around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and initially there was not enough water to knock down the flames.
So one challenge for us is there's no water in this area. So as soon as we got here, we had to determine where we could get water from. So Oxford was called immediately, and Sutton for their tankers.
Hamilton says hoarder-like conditions were also an obstacle for firefighters.
The fire had its difficulties because of the fact that we had trouble entering the house because of the conditions. Our crews did make a good job in managing to get through there to get to the source of the fire.
Now, Chief Hamilton says the owner of the house was transported to a local hospital where he's facing some severe burns. He also says a member of the Millbury Fire Department was also transferred to the hospital for facing a minor medical issue. In Millbury, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
All right, thank you, Cam. And heavy rain moving into the area this evening. There's a chance we'll see thunderstorms and even small hail. Here's meteorologist Tim Kelly with a first look at our local forecast.
Weather systems all lined up. We were in the 60s before the rain came in this afternoon, went down to about 50. Now it's jacket weather. Got another one for tomorrow night. We got another one for late in the week. There is a hole in the clouds that's the gap is going to be narrowed, though, as the other weather system kind of tries to catch up with this. This is the same upper level low that ignited the severe weather in Texas, then all the way to Florida last week. The front came into New England, kind of broke apart. Now we have a new storm forming off to our south. Thunder and downpours outside this evening, deep puddles and spots. Heaviest rain is kind of coming in off of the ocean. That's why the temperature is only around 50. Downpours continue through 2 a.m. and then it starts to lift out. So we'll have leftover puddles tomorrow morning at about 50 degrees. Probably some fog. The wind is coming in off the ocean. Clouds are going to thin out a bit. 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're close to 60 degrees. You move east, it's cooler, it's gray. You move west, it's brighter and warmer. And then another system's going to come in tomorrow night. Wednesday may start damp, but the sun will come out. Pretty busy 10-day forecast in a few minutes.
Thank you, Tim. Things are slowly getting back to normal at many Stop & Shop stores across the area as thousands of workers head back to work. The two sides reached a tentative agreement and both the supermarket chain and the United Food and Commercial Workers Union call it a win. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now with the latest. Chandler.
Olivia, customers have been going back into Stop & Shops today to talk to employees and shop. Some say they haven't had much luck checking off their grocery lists. The supermarket says they're working on getting back to business and restocking shelves. Union workers are back to work inside Stop & Shop stores. A tentative deal ended the strike Easter Sunday, 11 days after 31,000 supermarket employees across New England walked off the job.
I had a text her. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, is it true? I just broke down in tears. I just couldn't believe it. I'm so happy.
Debbie Berganza and Beverly Doonan work at the Shrewsbury store. Both say getting back to work is a relief. They have plenty to do, and inside, it's all hands on deck.
A lot of cleaning, getting the departments back to normal, produce and floral. We'll have our first deliveries on Thursday.
Stop & Shop says the tentative agreements include increased pay, continued health coverage, and pension benefits for eligible associates. In Worcester, loyal customers like Diane Torres are happy to be back.
I'm a home health aide and I come shopping for my patients and stuff. So yeah, I come here like at least 3 times a week.
But shoppers say some shelves and sections are bare.
I was like in shock because I never saw the supermarket so empty. Like when I went in there and I saw it, like, oh my God, this cannot be happening.
They're prepared foods. There was nothing out. and their produce is pretty empty.
Braganza and Doonan say they're trying to get back to their routine. They say the long, hard hours picketing was well worth it.
This is family. We're stronger than ever right now, and we got through this.
The United Food and Commercial Workers Union says the agreement is a powerful victory. They say it preserves health care and retirement benefits, provides wage increases, and maintains time-and-a-half pay on Sunday for current members. Live in Shrewsbury, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester's crime rate continues its downward trend for another year in 2018. Arrests were down more than 12% from the previous year. There were 5 homicides in the city in 2018, matching 2017 as one of the lowest numbers in decades. Other violent crimes and property crimes dropped as well. Stabbings and slashings were one of the only categories to see an increase. The department says the statistics show crime reduction programs are working.
All kinds of programs to try to reduce the number of people who become criminals. Some of the gang units programs, the POW athletics, the gang camp, all kinds of other things. So it's a kind of a two-pronged approach we have, and I think it's been tremendously effective over the last 5 years. Crime rates have plummeted. 2017 was the best year we had on record, and 2018 was dramatically better.
And Lieutenant Sean Murtha says the department does plan to add more programs in the future to help reduce crime. A pilot program equipping some Worcester police officers with body cameras is getting closer to becoming reality. Worcester Police say an Arizona company has donated 20 body cameras and accessories for the department's 6-month pilot program. The program will involve 20 officers from the Operations, Neighborhood Response Team, and Traffic Division. The City Council is expected to vote on the program Tuesday night. More than 40 families are displaced from their homes when a fire broke out in Sturbridge on Easter Sunday. Several crews from surrounding towns helped battle the flames, and now the American Red Cross is helping the families. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with the details. Brittany.
Olivia, the Central Mass Red Cross says this was a large-scale incident. Sunday, they were able to help 26 families find shelter, food, and offer emotional support. Chris Ortega and his family woke up to the sound of fire alarms Easter Sunday.
Didn't realize what was going on, but we grabbed everybody, saw smoke coming up in the hallway, and just ran out.
Ortega, his wife, and 4-year-old daughter are among 40 families displaced by the 3-alarm fire at their Main Street apartment complex. He says his unit suffered slight damage and his family is staying at a nearby hotel for the time being.
It was kind of rough, not a way to start an Easter holiday, but one thing I do have to say is that the Red Cross, the firefighters, and even the local restaurants all came together to feed the families and help out.
Christopher Ray is the Central Massachusetts American Red Cross Disaster Program Manager. He says they were able to offer assistance to 21 households Sunday. Many others were away for the holiday weekend.
For us here in Central Massachusetts, this was a larger incident, about 42 units affected. It was really quite a tragedy over the holiday weekend. Families are affected, households are affected, and we do our best to meet them right then and there in that moment.
The Red Cross, along with local and state agencies, is setting up a recovery center Tuesday at the town's senior center. Ray says it isn't done often, but it's needed because of how many people were affected.
Usually we can work with clients individually. At this scale, it's a lot easier to bring everyone to the same place, and we just, in a coordinated fashion, direct people to where they need to go. Get them the services that they need in a single place.
Everything from new living arrangements to clothing will be available. Ortega says the situation is unfortunate, but he's thankful for all the help.
Just have done a phenomenal job. Glad everybody's safe, and God bless everybody that was involved.
Sturbridge Fire says a resident did suffer a minor injury but is doing okay today. They say the cause of the fire was determined to be the improper disposal of a smoking material. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester's first recreational marijuana dispensary is set to open next week. Good Chemistry on Harrison Street has been open for medical marijuana sales since August. The company received final approval to open recreationally from the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission on Friday. For the initial opening period, customers will be required to pre-register for an appointment through an online registration system to access the dispensary. What was supposed to be a joyful Easter Sunday changed in a matter of minutes months after terrorist attacks several sites in Sri Lanka. Nearly 300 people were killed in the waves of bombings targeting churches and hotels. Our Rosalind Flaherty spoke with people today affected by the attacks. She joins us now with more. Rosalind.
Olivia, the attacks have rocked the world. A Holy Cross professor that used to live in the country has been to the churches where the explosions happened.
I was heartbroken and shocked.
Matthew Schmaltz reacts to reports 300 people are dead after a series of coordinated explosions in Sri Lanka. The associate professor of religious studies at Holy Cross lived in the island nation 5 years ago.
I know the churches where the bombings have happened. I visited them.
At least 9 bombs tore through churches and hotels in 3 Sri Lankan cities as people gathered for Mass on Easter Sunday. Sri Lanka's defense minister described the blast as a terrorist attack by religious extremists.
I think there's been a spiral now of interreligious violence where the Muslim community particularly feels under siege. I also think that there were imported elements of Islamicist ideology that influenced this particular group.
Schmaltz says Christians make up 7% of the religious community in the country and says their culture is deep.
These churches were the very definition of soft targets, and if you have malevolent intent, want to make an impact, these were places where you would go.
First Baptist Church in Worcester was getting ready for their Sunday service when they heard of the bombings. The pastor says they go through different precautions to ensure safety.
With Pittsburgh and then with New Zealand and now Sri Lanka, just the depths of religious bigotry is really hard to understand why that exists.
The attack marks the country's worst violence since the end of their civil war in 2009. Schmaltz says the Sri Lankan people have suffered enough.
My fear is that there'll be an increasing spiral of interreligious violence and reprisal attacks, in which case it'll be difficult for Sri Lanka to extricate itself from that, at least in the near future.
The State Department confirms at least 4 Americans are among the dead. Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.